Imagine you have $100,000. In front of you is an unusual opportunity. There is a 60% chance that every dollar you invest will double. But there is also a 40% chance that every dollar you invest will disappear. You can invest as much or as little as you want. So, how much would you risk? Would you invest all $100,000? After all, the odds are in your favor. Would you choose $50,000 or perhaps $10,000 just to be safe? Do not answer too quickly, because this question is not really testing your ability to understand probability. It is testing whether you understand survival. Suppose you invest everything. You win the first time and turn $100,000 into $200,000. Then you receive the same opportunity again. You invest everything and win again. Now you have $400,000. At this point, you no longer feel lucky. You feel intelligent. You begin to believe that you understand the game better than everyone else. So when the opportunity appears for a third time, you invest everything again. But this time, you lose. 3 decisions, 2 victories. You were right most of the time. And yet, you are left with nothing. This is the trap. Being right more often than you are wrong does not guarantee success, because not every mistake costs the same. You can make 9 excellent decisions, but if the 10th decision destroys your ability to continue, the previous 9 no longer matter. Now return to the original question. With a 60% chance of winning, a 40% chance of losing, and an equal amount gained or lost, how much should you invest? Under these exact conditions, a mathematical rule known as the Kelly Criterion gives a surprising answer. 20%. Not all 100,000. Not 50,000. $20,000. Why only 20,000 when the odds are clearly in your favor? Because the purpose of the calculation is not to make the most money from one opportunity. It is to maximize long-term growth while protecting you from ruin. If you win, your capital grows. If you lose, you still have $80,000 and the ability to participate in the next opportunity. That ability is worth more than it appears. If you invest everything every time, a single loss destroys you. And across 5 identical opportunities, the probability of experiencing at least one loss is more than 92%. Your advantage never gets enough time to work. The problem was not that the opportunity was bad. The problem was that your bet was too large. Now imagine a different person. She owns a small online business. One of her products suddenly becomes popular. Orders triple in a single month, and customers keep asking when it will be available again. Her supplier offers her a discount if she purchases an entire year of inventory immediately. She calculates the potential profit and becomes excited. So she empties the company's bank account, uses her personal savings, and takes out a loan to buy as much inventory as possible. If demand continues, she could double the size of her business. But 2 months later, the trend disappears. A competitor releases a better product. Sales slow down, but the loan payments, storage costs, employee salaries, and household expenses continue. Was she wrong to recognize the opportunity? No. She may have been completely right that the product had potential. Her mistake was allowing one prediction to decide whether the entire business survived. A good opportunity became a dangerous decision because she made the position too large. This pattern appears everywhere. A trader finds a strategy that works and increases his leverage after 3 successful months. A company becomes dependent on one enormous client. A creator abandons every source of income after one video becomes popular. A family invests all its savings into a business because a trusted friend says the outcome is almost certain. They are not necessarily foolish people. In fact, many of them have correctly identified an advantage. But they confuse having an advantage with having certainty, and that confusion can destroy everything. The Kelly Criterion was developed to solve a mathematical problem, but the principle behind it reaches far beyond money. Never risk so much on one decision that being wrong removes your ability to make the next decision. And this is where the lesson becomes much bigger than investing. Imagine a man who has been building a side business after work. For 6 months, it earns almost nothing. Then 1 month, it suddenly makes $3,000. He feels that this is the moment he has been waiting for. The next morning, he resigns from his job. But the following month, the business earns $700. The month after that, it earns $400. His idea may still be good. The business may eventually succeed. But now every slow month feels like an emergency. He cannot experiment patiently because rent is approaching. He cannot reject bad customers because he needs immediate cash. He cannot make long-term decisions because short-term survival controls him. The dream did not fail because he lacked courage. It became fragile because he removed his margin for error too soon. What if he had waited until the business produced stable income for several months? What if he had saved enough money to cover 1 year of living expenses? What if he had reduced his working hours before resigning completely? He would still be taking a risk, but one disappointing month would not be able to destroy him. Now, imagine a freelancer who earns $10,000 every month. From the outside, her career looks secure, but $8,000 comes from one client. She believes she has multiple sources of income because several companies pay her. In reality, she has one major employer and a few small customers. Then her largest client changes management and cancels the contract. In a single email, 80% of her income disappears. Her problem was not that freelancing was dangerous. Her problem was concentration. She allowed one person's decision to control almost her entire financial life. The same mistake happens in careers. Someone builds an identity around one company, one qualification, or one powerful manager. As long as that relationship remains strong, everything appears stable. But if the company restructures, the industry changes, or the manager leaves, years of apparent security can disappear. This does not mean you should distrust every opportunity. It means you should recognize hidden single points of failure. Ask yourself, what is the one event that could remove most of what I depend on? One client? One income source? One investment? One platform? One person's approval? The answer shows you where your life is more fragile than it appears. There is another important problem. In the original example, we knew the probability of success was exactly 60%. Real life never gives us such a clean number. A business owner may believe a product has a 70% chance of succeeding. But where did that number come from? Past experience, customer research, or excitement disguised as analysis? When the probability is uncertain, blindly following a formula can become dangerous. That is why cautious investors often use only a fraction of the amount suggested by Kelly. If the calculation says 20%, they may risk 10%, or even 5%. They accept slower growth in exchange for greater protection against errors in their assumptions. This reveals a deeper principle. The less certain your information is, the more room you should leave for being wrong. Before making a major decision, ask 5 questions. First, if this fails completely, can I continue? Second, am I risking money, time, reputation, and stability at the same time? Third, is this opportunity repeatable, or will I only get one attempt? Fourth, how confident am I in the probability, and what evidence supports that confidence? Fifth, how long will it take me to recover if I am wrong? These questions will not remove risk. Nothing meaningful in life is completely safe, but they prevent one emotional decision from becoming a permanent ending. The goal is not to avoid every loss. If you risk nothing, you may survive, but you will never grow. The goal is to take risks that are large enough to improve your life, but small enough that failure can teach you instead of destroy you. Keep an emergency reserve outside the game. Do not allow one customer to control your entire business. Do not increase your risk simply because you have recently been successful. When possible, recover your original investment and continue with the gains. And never confuse confidence with certainty. The people who last are not always the people who make the boldest decisions. They are the people who know when to move aggressively and when to protect their ability to move again. Because opportunity rarely appears only once. But you can only recognize the next opportunity if you are still standing when it arrives. So the next time something looks almost certain, do not ask only, "How much could I win?" Ask a more important question. If I am wrong, will I still have the ability to try again? Your future does not depend on winning every decision. It depends on never allowing one decision to end the game. If you want to learn the hidden skills that help you think clearly, make better decisions, and avoid the mistakes that quietly control your life, subscribe to the channel. Because sometimes one idea does not simply change what you know, it changes every decision you make afterward.